Bert Breer is here from MMQB. Bert, all right. So the league right now seems rather mediocre. There's no teams that are really standing out. Even Kansas City, who's undefeated, obviously have had close games and they have a lot of injuries.
Yep.
Minnesota is unexpected. We'll see. What are you seeing? Who are the elite teams right now, in your opinion?
I think as much as anything else, it's like even more so than ever before. The first month of the season feels like an extended preseason. Everybody's still figuring themselves out. And if you look at it, like there aren't a lot of teams that really are out of it. Now, are the Jaguars going to be there at the end? I mean, they could wind up firing their coach in the next month. Are the Patriots going to be there in the end? Probably not. So there are a few teams that you can take and pull out of the pile and say they're not going to be there. But, I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now, and 2 games separate first from last in the AFC East, the AFC North, the AFC West, the NFC East, the NFC North. Yeah, every division but one. Like every team is within 2 games of each other. And I think that kind of illustrates how we really don't know who's going to emerge from the pack. Now, if you ask me who's going to be standing at the end, like who looks to me like a team that's going to be there, Detroit. I think when you look at like the way they came off that loss to Tampa, and I don't know how much of it you guys watch. I think Arizona was their next game. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they go into Arizona, and the first drive is like 9 plays, 70 yards, like 7 runs. David Montgomery had like 6 of them. And I know, Hardy, I know you watch that team closely. There's like a difference for them in the running game between giving the ball to Gibbs and giving the ball to Montgomery.
Yep.
And when they give the ball to Montgomery a lot, it's almost like they're trying to make a statement. You know what I mean about who they are again.
We saw that in overtime of week 1.
Right. And overtime of week 1, it's just like, here we come, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lions they look like they're complete. Like the young corners are going to come along. Like Tyrion Arnold's going to be a really good player.
Lots of penalties.
I stop myself from saying they look complete because it's the penalties and it's the yards and it's the points. But I've also made my peace with that over the last couple of years.
You're young on defense and you have
right. And God, who was the corner
Malcolm
last
X.
year? Not Simmons. Who was the corner last year?
The kid. Oh, yeah.
Well, Okudah was already gone.
Yeah, the kid from Ohio State was gone. The first-round pick they whiffed on.
Yeah, it wasn't. Because they've completely redone their corner room.
Sutton.
Oh, yeah, Sutton.
Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton had a rough offseason.
Cam Sutton had to go, and as soon as he was gone, I was like, okay, well that's addition.
What was the story again? He went missing in Florida or something, or something like that.
I don't know the story of Cam Sutton.
The Cam Sutton story was weird. He disappeared for a week. He did something and then was on the run.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's
something
fun.
like that. Yeah.
Look at him, just in time. You lose the discipline of Campbell, and then it all falls apart.
I mean, there was an allegation of domestic battery by strangulation,
and then he disappeared, right? For a month.
And he was
and then suspended 8 games.
Yes,
He was gone for a month. They
So-
couldn't find him.
So anyway, I think Detroit is. I think Detroit's going to be there in the end. Kansas City they've lost so much. Like what they were planning on being on offense is gone now because Rashee Rice is almost certainly out for the year, and Hollywood Brown. It's iffy whether or not he comes back this year. So, but it's just almost like the Patriots with Brady, where it was like you think they're just going to be there at the end. Buffalo is the one that's really interesting to me. Now, I know they took it on the chin, but I look at the Bills and the Ravens from Sunday night, and that had the look of 2 teams that are going to be there too. I think Buffalo, they're so young in so many spots now, but I think Buffalo is going to keep getting better. Buffalo is a team that I'd be interested to see them trade for Devontae Adams.
Buffalo, you don't hear that. You hear Kansas City, you hear the Jets.
New Orleans,
you don't hear a lot about Buffalo. You would like to see Buffalo.
Well, based on the game against the Ravens, and the Ravens have done a lot to.
The Ravens look great.
Well, yeah, but
the Ravens are young
after
in
the first
spots
couple
too.
weeks. After the first couple of weeks,
what's so interesting about those 2 teams to me is that both those teams like intentionally reset their roster and knew there were going to be bumps early on. So the Bills lost Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Mitch Morse, Stephon Diggs. The Ravens lost 60% of their offensive line. 3 out of the 5 starters, Moses, Zeitler, and Simpson are all gone. And then they lose Patrick Queen. They lose Jadeveon Clowney. They lose their defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. So Buffalo and the Baltimore are 2 like really well-run programs that knew there were going to be some bumps early on. So I think for them to flash the way they have already, Buffalo flashed that way against Jacksonville, and then Baltimore flashed that way against Buffalo. Like those are 2 teams where it's like, if they're already getting there after changing so much, and now they're relying on young players, they should keep getting better. I just like look at the rest of the league. I don't know, man. Like San Francisco, when they get healthier, we'll see what happens with McCaffrey, but San Francisco should be there in the end. It's the same teams.
Is Philadelphia going to fire their coach?
Nick Sirianni.
Sirianni?
Yeah, the NFC East is like almost like the SEC of the NFL. It's like Nick Sirianni has made the playoffs 3 years in a row, went to a Super Bowl a year and a half ago, and now he's going to get fired. Mike McCarthy has won 12 games 3 years in a row. It legitimately is like the SEC in the NFC East. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the Eagles fans are not fans of Sirianni. I can tell you that.
Eagles fans are like Auburn fans. You know what I mean? Like unrealistic expectations.
But how much of that? I mean,
well, they're like Clemson fans getting the coach all riled up.
Yeah.
What's his face from Clemson?
Dabo?
Dabo Sweeney
Yeah.
he does not like the fan base right now.
No.
They say you use the transfer portal, and he says no.
Yeah.
And then they start fighting.
Well, you heard about him saying like having the original name, who had the original name, image, and likeness deal.
Why?
Who had the original NIL deal?
Who?
Was Jesus. That's what Dabo said.
Why? I don't get it.
Because everything's done in his name, image, and likeness.
Oh.
Yeah. It's very deep.
I see.
Okay. I had to ask why.
Yeah, read a Bible.
Oh, I have and will again. That's not in Leviticus where I'm right now.
I think the Eagles. So
How
the first
far
sign,
into it are you?
the first sign of trouble for Nick Sirianni.
3 paragraphs.
The first sign of trouble for Nick Sirianni is when they hired 2 coordinators
Psalm 70.
he had no connection to. That's not a great sign when they hired when they hire 2 coordinators that you are not connected to.
Yeah.
It's just got to be so hard owning that team. Just that fan base is just so pissed all the time. All the time. They're pissed when they go to the Super Bowl. They're pissed when they win the Super Bowl. They're just pissed.
I mean, one of the things I'll do during the season is after a really bad Eagles loss, I'll listen to WIP.
Oh yeah,
It's so great.
Well, because so like Patriot fans will moan about the team, but it's not. There hasn't been that much to moan about.
Not like that.
But not like plays. They'll call into national shows and they'll be like, "Remember in the third quarter, it was 3rd and 4, and." Hurts is flashing and it's an RPO, and then he turns, like they break down one play.
And that accent too.
Yeah, and it just what? And Sirianni's an idiot. Like that, you could tell they're not friends.
It's like if you could make the Jersey accent more annoying, that's Philly.
Oh, Philly's impossible to do the Phillies.
I forgot. Sorry, Wallach.
I mean, I'm not arguing.
Why? Because your wife's from there?
All my in-laws, they act.
Do they
a lot
have that?
like,
Do they have that accent?
Oh no, they all have the accent. They're all acting.
Delco
They're
accent?
all irrational. Yeah, it's
my
same.
ex-wife's father's wife has a big Philadelphia accent. It's very rare.
It's distinctive.
It's very distinctive.
yes,
It's really going away. Like it's almost going away.
Yeah, so I would say Philly be one that I think Bill would be in the mix for.
Oh yeah, Hachi-Machi.
Really?
Have fun with that.
Well, yeah, it's
we
just
heard
'cause
this last year.
And one thing I did hear is he was at that Monday night game, the Eagles Falcons Monday night game. I heard he was all over Lurie in pregame, like he was around him.
Really?
Yeah, and Lurie and Kraft have a rivalry now. I mean, I don't
Okay.
know how much you guys know about that, but Lurie was
What? Why?
because Lurie's from here
Yeah.
and tried to buy the Patriots and didn't get them. And so there's always been a little rivalry there. Lurie's around here a lot, too. Lurie's he's at Celtics games and all of that. So there's a little rivalry there where it's like, would it be personally satisfying for Jeffrey Lurie to hire Bill Belichick to win a Super Bowl with Bill Belichick? Maybe it would be.
Maybe, but I mean, Kraft wanted him gone. It's not as though he took Belichick away from Kraft.
I mean, I do.
Belichick's coming off so cool since he's been coach, hanging around the owners.
I know.
And
I like how every one of Belichick's media appearances is to settle some sort of score.
Yeah, he's really coming off as a guy who accomplished a lot. It's very sad.
I think Jacksonville is interesting too, just along those lines. I don't know how much you guys have watched of Doug Peterson's press conference. This is the last week and a half.
I have not watched any.
It is there is a lot of subtle or even not so subtle throwing players under the bus after losses, and I like Doug, but battling the media unnecessarily. It feels like if they lose to the Colts this Sunday, and then they got to go to London at 0-5.
Yeah, but they're playing the Patriots, so.
Well, I'll tell you this.
And then lose to the Patriots.
I don't know how he
If they
can.
lose to the Patriots.
That Jacksonville media is savage. I'll tell you. They have one local sports radio show, and it's the worst show
That'd
I've
be
ever
great
heard.
for Bill, right?
But yeah, would be he'd really that would be another thing that for his legacy. You went to that, that bellwether franchise, Jacksonville. All right.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.